Ever since I recall, I have followed football, and ingrained in my heart are the Rangers FC. Through good and the bad times, of happy or sad, it will always be Rangers for me. For when I was a lad, I was led by the hand down the Pace Little West. Ever since I recall, I have followed football, and ingrained in my heart are the Rangers FC. Through good and the bad times, of happy or sad, it will always be Rangers for me. For when I was a lad, I was led by the hand down the Pace Little West.
Hi, welcome along to the pitch at Townhead. This is a new show, back in the old days of the old down the Paisley Road West. I've started it again. I've got Rangers captain from the 80s, Ali Dawson here. Ali, how you doing?
Hi Si, how are you?
All good. So I just want to ask you questions about your old times with Rangers and your memories. So obviously a few years back now. Signing for Rangers, can you remember? Is it, you came from Johnston, is that right?
I was brought up in Johnston, yeah. Originally born in Glasgow, moved out to Johnston, and brought up in Johnston High. Great, because it was a good breeding ground at that time. There's the Paisley District schools, and eventually it was during the time of playing for a Paisley District that it was the scout come along and watched me and asked me to come along to the training ground to train with the youths at that time, of which Gordon Boyd was a youth and an S form at that time as well. So I just, first thoughts were great. What else, you know? So
just at this point, I never ever do shout outs, but my oldest sister Janice went to school with you, and she always tells people, it's a clap me fame. She went to school with you, so Janice, that's a wee shout out for you. And my brother-in-law, right, he'll like that to get a wee mention in it.
Right, no, that's ideal.
They talk about the days there used to be in Johnston, there used to be a tiger or a lion at the petrol station. I don't know if you remember that. At Eldersley.
I think it was Tiger or something like that. Tiger in your tank. Oh, there was a pet, that's right. There was a pet down at that, just at the Thorn, just before you went into Johnston, or went down to the towards the
just outskirts.
The outskirts of it. That's correct.
So anyway, I was always wondering if they were telling me lies on us.
No, there was. They had a pet at that time. That's right.
So you're coming to Rangers as a boy then at that time as a youth level. What was the people who was involved in it originally? What was the kind of the coaches and management like? Well,
originally it was Stan Anderson that was the coach. Unfortunately, he's passed away a couple of years ago. But Stan was again a Rangers man, a character. You did what he asked you to do and believed it was going to be right, and that's the way everybody should. They're in a position, but it was different. The training was slightly different from what it is now, and the facilities were a huge difference of what they are now. We had the Red Blaze pitch, or if we were really lucky and it had been dry over a period of time, and the first team were using it, you get the grass pitch if you were doing it. Otherwise, you were doing that inside underneath the tunnel at Ibrox, where you used to be able to look down from the enclosure, look down onto the boys warming up, etc., on black ash, and that was, we had to use that when the weather was really bad, or we had the 440-yard track outside, which was had memories. I didn't say they were great ones, but they had a lot of memories for me, because that's where you built up a lot of the fitness, and we weren't able to use the ball all the time. So it was a totally different time.
Aye, I mean, you mentioned that. I always remember as a kid, I used to watch the Rangers team before they came out, and behind their seat in the training. That was fantastic, being able to watch them doing the wee warm-ups and all that.
And that's what you did. We didn't go out onto the pitch before it. They wanted to keep the pitch pristine for the game, and it wasn't as if it was going to muck it up too much, but that was what we did at the time, and both sets of teams would warm up there. Just got you up to speed a wee bit to get the heart rate going, etc., and the blood pumping around the body. So that was basically all you could do at that time. And then you got a touch of the ball when you're out 5 minutes before it, and that was your touch of the ball, and you were expected to go in and get straight into it. Change days now, which I'm glad. The warm-ups are far better. They're into a routine. They get them up to speed, and they're getting a good touch of the ball.
When you say changes, you mean big changes? Would you say big?
Aye, yeah. It is big changes, and it's for the right. Over the years, if you're not changing, if you're not growing with with what's going on around you.
It's just faster.
It's faster, and it's only faster because you're doing things at a higher pace. You're doing expectancy of it, and people, you know, I've been asked questions. Do you think you would have coped in today's? You would have adjusted. People just adjust. You adjust to what's happening around you. And it doesn't mean that you were a bad. If you're a good player in it before, it doesn't mean you're a bad player now. You know, you would just adjust to the system and the conditions of what you're doing in the training, and take that into the game.
I had to laugh. We were in after the match on Sunday after the match. Obviously, I'd done the fan interview, so I was a bit late, and I was genuinely, you're talking about how things are changing, the world's changing, and athletes and football players now have different diets and things like that.
Yep.
The full St Johnstone team had a Papa Joe's or something, a Domino's waiting on them, and every single member of that team was eating pizza right after the game. I couldn't believe it.
Slightly different. I mean, I don't think they would do that. It's that saying of getting some sort of fluids in your fuel back into your body, but I don't think I would go that far. I think it's just getting fluids back into your body right afterwards. Everybody's different. They look at different things and how they want to do it. The coaching staff and the dietitians and the people behind the scenes at Rangers, well, I've looked into everything that they do, and they whatever they give them, they'll take on board.
That's proper. So there was a wee debate, Ali, I heard on the TalkSport last week. It might interest you. Basically, what they were saying is maybe bringing the young boys back to cleaning the boots and that for the first team. You think it was a good idea or a bad idea?
I would love it. I really would love it. Because I can now talk about players that I was doing, John Greggs, Tom Forsyth, people like that Sandy Jardine. You brush their boots, and of course, that was taken as a part of it. You know, I was going to say we did the laundry, but we didn't back then. We just hung it up, and that was it. Or we put it in a pile at the end of the week, and then it get washed, and it was there for us. And the next, we wore it for a full week, which is very unhygienic now as you look back. But that was the kind of things that we looked at. With these wired baskets when it needed heaters, they dried it out, but by the end of the week it was absolutely stinking, you know. But that was just what we knew.
I think the rule was you weren't allowed in the first team room.
No, we weren't. We weren't. We went into the away dressing room, the younger ones, and you were only brought into there if you were going to be brought in for training, and you were taken up. You weren't changed in there. You changed in your own one. And then you were brought into it for the chat before, and then going out and doing the training, and that was it. So, and I had a set number of boots to do.
So whose did you do?
I called Tom Forsyth was one. I had the first of ones. So you had Peter McCloy, you had Tom Forsyth, Sandy Jardine, John Gregg.
So all the ones that were going to slap you about if you done it wrong.
Well, exactly, you know, and the same ones that would slap me about if I did something wrong in the park, you know. So. And I mean, at the beginning when I was starting, it was I had all these guys around me. I had, you know, on the park that was breaking in. It was fantastic. Their experience was tremendous. Alan McDonald in front, next to me either Tom Forsyth or Colin Jackson, and you know you get that these guys who have got a vast amount of experience, and they're doing. Willie Johnson, pass it the ball to him, or Cutty Young. You know they're really good players. And they helped me a lot, big time.
So then eventually you break through to the Rangers team. How did that feel, eventually becoming an actual Rangers first team player?
It was, you don't really realise it at the time. A progression, yeah, but I was lucky having that 2 to 3 years progression, getting a few games each year. 17, played a couple of games, 18, 19. And then 20, just not long before my 21st birthday, I get the chance that we were up at Aberdeen, and I'd played a couple of games and in the reserves and doing not too bad. And I get the opportunity to go up at Aberdeen. I thought Alec Miller would have been playing in front of me, but John put me in and said, you playing at left back, get out, and I think we drew nothing each up at Aberdeen, get a good result up there. Continued from there to the end of the season, and was fortunate enough to go into the cup final, etc. Unfortunately, we never won it that year, but the following year, the way things were going, I eventually get asked if I wanted to be captain, and I know I was young at the age of 23. I know I was very, very young, but if somebody asks you to do something like that, you can't refuse it. You just don't. You believe that they're making the right decision. And I still think it was. I mean, there's others it could have been. It might have been Sandy, etc. But I think the way it probably would have been better maybe to the end of the season, and then thought, right, okay, at the end of the season we'll make a decision then. But the great opportunity that came away gave me the chance to lift the Scottish Cup at the end of that season, which was, not many people can say they could go up there and lift the Scottish Cup. So I made the right decision in my mind, and I would never change it.
I mean, how does that feel? You must be able to, when you look back, you talk to people and new fans and that, and I captained the Rangers.
It's surreal at times. You look back, you talk. It's great that you're now back into home games, back in the former player coming into the club with a number of good friends and colleagues, and it's meeting them and then talking to the players, the supporters, the guys that pay good money to go into to keep the club going, and have done and are willing to do that. And I think that's something which I probably appreciate a lot more now than what I did at the time. I appreciated the supporters at the time, but you don't really realise how much they're actually putting into the club. Their time, not just the time, but the money, the effort, the whole it is, and I think you do realise it. I wouldn't say I took it for granted at the time, but I didn't realise how important it was. And you realise how important really it is when you're talking to people now, and you know they've travelled, they've just come back from games abroad, they're at the next game, they're supporting, and it's that. And I mean, it's not just the people that we're meeting; it's the people who are going in to try to get money together for
just to get there.
Get to these games and get back and get to it's their life, and you really do appreciate it more now.
Okay, so you're telling us about that time when you win the cup with Rangers and things like that. There's a vivid memory when I remember back. I was only a young boy at the time. Was the John McLaren story when John left Rangers. I was gutted. And when I look back,
not just the time, but the money, the effort, the whole it is, and I think you do realise it. I wouldn't say I took it for granted at the time, but I didn't realise how important it was. And you realise how important really it is when you're talking to people now, and you know they've travelled, they've just come back from games abroad, they're at the next game, they're supporting, and it's that. And I mean, it's not just the people that we're meeting; it's the people who are going in to try to get money together for
just to get there,
to get to these games and get back and get to it's their life, and you really do appreciate it more now.
Okay, so you're telling us about that time when you win the cup with Rangers and things like that. There's a vivid memory when I remember back. I was only a young boy at the time. Was the John McLaren story when John left Rangers. I was gutted. And when I look back now, a couple of years later, I believe it was there a couple of £100 or whatever.
Possibly.
We would have probably been able to pay that a couple of years' time. Is that how was the time? Were the players gutted?
It was. John was. I got on really well with John, and he was very versatile. I think these big long legs got him up and down the park, you know, in about 3 or 4 strides. But it was just that. He took his time to break in, like everybody else. He got there, but in his latter couple of years, he was very, very fit, organised, composed, could play a number of different positions, could play in the centre of defence, could play either fullback, and did very, very well at different times. But it was somebody, if you want to build on something, you were hoping to try to keep him. But he was a leader. He was able to do that, and he was a good friend off the park as well. And it just it was hard, but players don't really know the ins and outs of what's going on at that time, and that was the difference. You probably hear a lot more on social media and catch up with things and these things, but everything was kept behind, and then things would come out at a later afterwards. So you don't have that.
Similar happened to Cooper. They've nearly lost Cooper for similar reasons.
Yeah, but getting, I mean, having Davy Cooper was great. Good friend as well. And, the one thing the only thing we have in common was the fact that we were born on the same day, but he was 2 years older, the 25th of February. So around that time, I always have a wee toast or a wee thought to Davy at that time. So
I mean, how highly would you rate him as a player?
Davy was absolutely fantastic, or he was the most frustrating guy in the world to play behind. But see, for most of the time, you could give the ball to Davy, and you knew if you were going to go in an overlap, if you were going beyond him, if he would find you with it, or it would be the second ball into somebody who would find you with the ball. You know, you would. Any time I did make any overlap with Davy, it was, you know, there's a fair old chance he either took somebody away or he would slip the ball in between people, and he had great vision, and his weight of pass was always tremendous, you know. And he had a right foot, believe it or not, and didn't he? Wasn't he? He didn't use it a lot, but he had a right foot, and a lot of people, oh, he's only one-sided, but he could put the ball and slip balls in as well. So no, he was a good friend as well.
I know they called him Moody Blue, but all reports at the time I met him, he was actually the opposite. He
was very private, and I think that was a problem. Not problem, but I think that was him. That was him. That was his personality. Got on great with him. He liked to go out and go and put a bookies line on and that sort of thing. But he didn't drink a lot. You know, it wasn't as if he did that. He loves going and play squash and things. He just had that. It was different. In the sense that it was at an early age, there was more right after the game. If you were going to go out, you would go out and have a few beers and just watch what you were doing. But you meet with the punters, you would go out and do all these kind of things. And I think that's a good thing at that time for players. But it's not part of what they would do now, and that's another change. But Davy was just more private. He had a girlfriend at the time, and eventually get married, and then eventually. It was his personal life at that time, and I think he wanted to try to keep it, and I think that was just it. But whenever you met him away for things, he was fine. Totally.
I mean, as a fan, we knew him as Super Cooper. Would you agree with that?
Yes, he could change games in the cup final in '81. In the replay especially, he slipped balls in, he put people through, he turned the defence, etc., scored a goal. What more can you ask for? He turned the game that time.
Aye. And what other players in the Rangers team at that time would you see you looked up to, or you thought were maybe underrated and things like that?
No, I mean, I was breaking through at a time when I played a number of games with Colin Steen, and Colin Steen was my hero from school. Brought up and supporting Rangers, and Colin was my hero. And when he signed, everybody knows he's one goal away for 3 hat-tricks in a row, blah blah blah. But to meet him and to be away with him, we travelled and went over to Australia when I just left school. I get permission to leave school early, and when I was 17, to go over to Australia with the team, you know. And he was there, and he just, I was like, I can't believe it. You know, it was that you were looking up at somebody. I was a supporter.
The thing about that is, in hospitality, you still see guys in their 50s, 60s, 70s. You meet them. They're still the very same.
Aye, exactly. I always meet him and greet him with a handshake and how is he doing, etc. Wee bud as well. It's great to see them. Willie Henderson and the guys that from a slightly older era for myself. But I got to play with a couple of them. So Willie Henderson, no, but wee bud and Colin were good teammates at that time.
Aye. And still best of pals, which is great to see.
Yeah.
But we talk about being with Rangers at that time. See the Rangers management, the different managers you served under. Obviously, John Greig, 40 the greatest ever Ranger.
Yep.
We got Jock Wallace.
Two different guys to two different people. John get thrust upon it as well. It's a similar position as myself.
You're not going to say no.
You know, you're not going to say no. You want to give that chance. Jock was probably for me the best manager I've worked with, and the simple reason for that was he knew you, he knew how you were, and he could sense certain things. On the football side, he got you fit, he got you ready. He didn't ask a lot from you. He just asked you to play within the system that was there, set it out and go on with it. But as a man manager off the park, etc., second to none. Used to. Looking back on things, a number of different things, I just thought he probably knew more about me and what was happening with myself, and than what I knew at the time, and it wasn't in a bad way, it was a good way. and he guided me a lot of the way, and he always said, and it was right true before he went away, the door's always open. If you want to see me, come and see me. So.
When I was a wee boy, I've got a twin brother, Mark. He's probably watching this. He got to dog school one day and he got to meet the team, and that's how he came back. It's Big Jock, mate, Big Jock. I've never heard a person saying a bad word about him in the media. Kind of made him into be an aggressive kind of guy. And when I met him in later years, just before he passed away, he was a gentleman.
He was. He played on the wee bits. I think as far as that's concerned, he used to be walking along in the corridor, and you knew he was just going to have you a wee daft dig in the belly to make sure you were still working out and being alert and all these kind of things. And it was great, but that was the character he was. And it was a good side of it, because he would say that. He says, keep yourself right, keep yourself fit. He guided you.
He was big on the fitness.
Oh, he was, and he knew that, because that's what he had good players. But as long as they were fit, they would be better players. So he knew what he had with the players he had, but he knew that how could I get them better by making them fitter than other teams.
So in general, the players had great respect for him. How did they feel after Murder Hill?
I did. I only did about once or twice, because I got a couple of injuries pre-season, and I got so far in one of them pre-season and never made it up Murder Hill. But I twisted my ankle during it, and I was in the water cooling down. But Murder Hill was well named, I can assure you. But it was one day out of a year that you were going to do. It took us there, and it was a full day out. But you knew after that the ball would be coming out. You were nearly the peak of fitness. If you could get through that, the next bit was easy. It was hellish. That's the easiest way to describe it.
I remember wee Shuggy Burns said to me that Big Jock Radham said to me, "You're going to be sick. Feed the seagulls. Get on with it."
Aye, you did. You just moved aside. You got on with it, and then caught up later on. You just put your body through it. I would earlier on. I would make sure I did a little bit beforehand as well, because you couldn't go in there and just get straight back into pre-season training. But there was once I went away on holiday, and I only come back about 2 or 3 days before, and it was brutal. But it was.
So that's your wake-up call.
It is. That's your wake-up call. You made sure you were back and got a wee bit fitter. 2 or 3 of the players used to come in and do a wee bit of terracing work, etc. before it.
And running up the stands.
Aye.
Because I remember when Bobby Wilson broke his leg. I remember I was in the stadium. He was running up. That was his training after.
Aye. Just get the fitness, because you're not really pounding, but you're getting the legs moving in a way that
different muscles up and down the stairs.
Yeah, aye, and it built the muscles up for Bobby. Aye, definitely.
Aye. So what about other players in the team like Hugh Burns?
Hugh, I see now and again. Never changed. Hugh was one that. How do you describe Hugh? I don't know. Jack the lad comes into the team. Oh, bang, bang, bang. Went away one of the trips away. I think we were over in America, and Hugh was in it, and he was late one day, and Big Jock had a word with myself and Craig Patters. Make sure he's in time the next time. So we grabbed him, threw him into the pool, and says, the next time, make sure you're here in time. So he was there in time.
I learned his lesson.
So, we thought he would bounce about, and he still thinks he can bounce about, but there was one or two that eventually, when you did need to be brought down, and you did think that, you were brought down straight down to earth very, very quickly, which is not a bad thing, but you learn from it.
Would you agree with what we're going to say next, that Bobby Russell was far underrated for ability?
Aye, I would just say no, but Bobby was he was a great player still, a good friend as well, and he, I think a lot of people looking back now, Bobby Russell, my favourite player, and a lot of people did hold him highly. Unfortunately, Bobby picked up a lot of injuries. He had a problem with the knee, and eventually got a wee bit of cartilage snipped on it. It's one of these things that, what he could have been possibly, because he was stopping and starting a lot. Had a good run of the games, but Bobby was a terrific player. Give him on the ball, get him on the ball. Great. Work back to a point. I think he could have been maybe he'll probably tell you he was a player that was on the ball going forward, but never had the sort of tackling ability that like Al McDonald and people like that, because Doddy was a player who could get forward, but was back in your face.
I think he was great to have in the team, Doddy.
Oh, fantastic! Aye, an energy about him, a terrific energy about him, and that was the wee bit of difference with Bobby. Bobby never had that. He had the ability to get back, but probably didn't get back in an area which you could make the same differences about Alec MacDonald could at that time. But it was a good balance to have in the team as well, because you normally are sort of 4-4-2 with the two of them in that position, you know. So
and also, so you're looking at your characters in the team and all that, and it's a wee boy. I grew up watching him. I didn't know where to laugh or cry times. Was the Girvan Lighthouse, the goalie?
No, Big Peter was a good. He's
cup winner.
He's you know, you say, I think because he stood out because of, you know, there was very, very few people that were at that height of playing at that time, that keepers as well. I think was it Al Stamp? There was a big lad for Queen's Park at the time, but it was he didn't play a lot of games. And I played one game against him. He was about 6'6" or something, even Tower Peter. But he was very, very rarely did you come up against somebody like that. So it was for Peter. I got on really, really. Again, went down to Girvan a couple of times. We spent nights down there. Supporters things and knew Peter fairly well. Still working away down at the starter down at Turnberry. See him now and again, and he's back up at now and again at Ibrox as well. So Peter was Peter at the time and Stuart Kennedy were two great keepers. Again, the keepers is a big confidence thing, you know, and whoever was playing with the confidence at the time was probably the one that was in it. And the reserves, whoever was not playing the first team, the other player was going to be in the reserve. So that was where they kept pushing each other. They had good games.
How many pals?
Aye. There wasn't a lot of people I would say weren't pals. You know, that was with the younger ones, with our age group as we were growing up, you would get to know people and go out, and with them, if you had a partner at the time, girlfriend or whatever, or wife.
You socialise together.
Socialise like that, or there was one or two of us. You know, went through. Can't say went through one or two girlfriends, but I had one or two girlfriends at the time, and then was single at other times. But
good times, we'll call them.
It was all good times, I can assure you. But so, you adjusted it and went out with one or two single guys and enjoyed the time.
Loved the life. Yep. So obviously, at local boy, you're playing with Rangers, you become a captain, everything else. There's guys at the club. Okay, so you tell us about that time when you win the cup with Rangers and things like that. There's a vivid memory when I remember back. I was only a young boy at the time. Was the John McLaren story when John left Rangers. I was gutted. And when I look back now, a couple of years later, I believe it was a couple of £100 or whatever.
Possibly.
We would have probably been able to pay that a couple of years' time. Is that how was the time that the players gutted?
It was. John was. I got on really well with John, and he was very versatile. I think these big long legs got him up and down the park, you know, in about 3 or 4 strides. But it was just that. He took his time to break in, like everybody else. He got there, but in his latter couple of years, he was very, very fit, organised, composed. Could play a number of different positions. Could play in the centre of defence. Could play either fullback, and did very, very well at different times. But it was somebody, if you want to build on something, you were hoping to try to keep him. But he was a leader. He was able to do that, and he was a good friend off the park as well. And it was hard, but players don't really know the ins and outs of what's going on at that time, and that was the difference. You probably hear a lot more on social media and catch up with things and nice things, but everything was kept behind, and then things would come out at a late afterwards. So you don't have that.
Similar happened to Cooper. They nearly lost Cooper for similar reasons.
Yeah, but having Davy Cooper was great. Good friend as well, and the one thing the only thing we have in common was the fact that we were born on the same day, but he was 2 years older, the 25th of February. So around that time, I always have a wee toast or a wee thought of Davy at that time. So
how highly would you rate him as a player?
Davy was absolutely fantastic, or he was the most frustrating guy in the world to play behind. But see, for most of the time, you could give the ball to Davy, and you knew if you were going to go in an overlap, if you were going beyond him, if he would find you with it, or it would be the second ball into somebody who would find you with the ball. You know, you would. Any time I did make any overlap with Davy, it was, you know, there's a fair old chance he either took somebody away or he would slip the ball in between people, and he had great vision, and his way of pass was always tremendous, you know. And he had a right foot, believe it or not, and didn't he? Wasn't he? He didn't use it a lot, but he had a right foot, and a lot of people, he's only one-sided, but he could put the ball and slip balls in as well. So no, he was a good friend as well.
I know they called him Moody Blue, but all reports at the time I met him, he was actually the opposite.
He was very private, and I think that was a problem. Not problem, but I think that was him. That was him. That was his personality. Got on great with him. He liked to go out and go and put a bookies line on and that sort of thing. But he didn't drink a lot. You know, it wasn't as if he did that. He loved to go and play squash and things. He just had that. It was different. In the sense that it was at an early age, there was more right after the game. If you were going to go out, you would go out and have a few beers and just watch what you were doing. But you meet with the punters, you would go out and do all these kind of things. And I think that's a good thing at that time for players. But it's not part of what they would do now, and that's another change. But Davy was just more private. He had a girlfriend at the time, and eventually get married, and then eventually. It was his personal life at that time, and I think he wanted to try to keep it, and I think that was just it. But whenever you met him away for things, he was fine.
Totally. I mean, as a fan, we knew him as Super Cooper. Would you agree with that?
Yes, he could change games in the cup final in '81, in the replay especially. He slipped balls in, he put people through, he turned the defence, etc. Scored a goal. What more can you ask for? He turned the game that time.
Aye. And what other players in the Rangers team at that time would you see you looked up to, or you thought were maybe underrated and things like that?
No, I mean, I was breaking through at a time when I played a number of games with Colin Steen, and Colin Steen was my hero from school. Brought up and supporting Rangers, and Colin was my hero. And when he signed, everybody knows he's one goal away for 3 hat-tricks in a row, blah blah blah. But to meet him and to be away with him, we travelled and went over to Australia when I just left school. I got permission to leave school early when I was 17 to go over to Australia with the team, you know, and he was there, and he just I was like, I can't believe it, you know. It was, you were looking up at somebody. I was a supporter.
The thing about us in hospitality, you still see guys in their 50s, 60s, 70s, they meet them. They're still the very same.
Aye, exactly. I always meet him and greet him with a handshake and how is he doing, etc. Wee bud as well. It's great to see them, Wally Henderson and the guys that from a slightly older era for myself. But I got to play with a couple of them. So Wally Henderson, no, but Wee bud and Colin were good teammates at that time.
Aye. And still best of pals, which is great to see.
Yeah.
But we talk about being with Rangers at that time. See the Rangers management, the different managers you served under. Obviously, John Greig, voted the greatest ever Ranger.
Yeah.
We got Jock Wallace.
Two different guys to two different people. John get thrust upon it as well. It's a similar position as myself.
You're not going to say no.
You know, you're not going to say no. You want to give that chance. Jock was probably for me the best manager I've worked with, and the simple reason for that was he knew you, he knew how you were, and he could sense certain things. On the football side, he got you fit, he got you ready. He didn't ask a lot from you. He just asked you to play within the system that was there, set it out and get on with it. But as a man manager off the park, etc., second to none. Used to looking back on things, a number of different things. I just thought he probably knew more about me and what was happening with myself, and than what I knew at the time. And it wasn't in a bad way; it was a good way, and he guided me a lot of the way. And he always said, and it was right true before he went away. The door's always open. If you want to see me, come and see me.
So. When I was a wee boy, I've got a twin brother, Mark, he's probably watching this. He got to dog school one day and he got to meet the team, and that's how he came back. It's Big Jock, mate, Big Jock. I've never heard a person saying a bad word about him. The media kind of made him into an aggressive kind of guy. And when I met him in later years, just before he passed away, he was a gentleman.
He was. He played on the wee bits. I think as far as that's concerned, he used to be walking along in the corridor, and you knew he was just going to have you a wee daft dig in the belly to make sure you were still working out and being alert and all these kind of things. And it was great, But that was the character he was. And it was a good side of it, because he would say that. He says, keep yourself right, keep yourself fit.
He was big on the fitness.
Oh, he was, and he knew that, because that's what he had good players. But as long as they were fit, they would be better players. So he knew what he had with the players he had, but he knew that how could I get them better by making them fitter than other teams.
So in general, the players had great respect for him. How did they feel after Murderhill?
I only did about once or twice, because I got a couple of injuries at the pre-season, and I got so far in one of them pre-season and never made it up Murderhill, but I twisted my ankle during it, and I was in the water going down. But Murderhill was well named, I can assure you. But it was one day out of a year that you were going to do it. It took us there, and it was a full day out, but you knew after that the ball would be coming out. You were nearly the peak of fitness. If you could get through that, the next bit was easy. It was hellish. That's the easiest way to describe it.
I remember wee Shuggy Burns said to me that Big Jock Radham said to him, "You're going to be sick, feed the seagulls, get on with it."
Aye, you did. You just moved aside, you got on with it, and then caught up later on. You just put your body through it. I would earlier on. I would make sure I did a little bit beforehand as well, because you couldn't go in there and just get straight back into pre-season training. But there was once I went away on holiday, and I only come back about 2 or 3 days before, and it was brutal. But it was.
So that's your wake-up call.
It is. That's your wake-up call. You made sure you were back and got a wee bit fitter. 2 or 3 of the players used to come in and do a wee bit of terracing work, etc. before it.
And running up the stands.
Aye.
Because I remember when Bobby Wilson broke his leg. I remember I was in the stadium. He was running up. That was his training after.
Aye. Just get the fitness, because you're not really pounding, but you're getting the legs moving in a way that
different muscles up and down the stairs.
Yeah, and it built the muscles up for Bobby. Definitely.
So what about other players in the team, like Hugh Burns?
Hugh, I see now and again, never changed. Hugh was one that. How do you describe Hugh? I don't know. Jack the lad comes into the team. Oh, bang, bang, bang. Went away one of the trips away. I think we were over in America, and Hugh was in it, and he was late one day, and Big Jock had a word with myself and Craig Patters. Make sure he's in time the next time. So we grabbed him, threw him into the pool, and says, the next time, make sure you're here in time. So he was there in time.
I learned his lesson.
So, we thought he would bounce about, and he still thinks he can bounce about, but there was one or two that eventually when you did need to be brought down, and you did think that, you were brought down straight down to earth very, very quickly, which is not a bad thing, but you learn from it.
Would you agree with what we're going to say next, that Bobby Russell was far underrated for ability?
Aye, I would just no, but Bobby was he was a great player still, a good friend as well, and he, I think a lot of people looking back now, Bobby Russell's my favourite player, and a lot of people did hold him highly. Unfortunately, Bobby picked up a lot of injuries. He had a problem with the knee, and eventually got a wee bit of cartilage snipped on it. It's one of these things that, what he could have been possibly, because he was stopping and starting a lot. Had a good run of the games, but Bobby was a terrific player. Give him on the ball, get him on the ball. Great. Work back to a point. I think he could have been maybe he'll probably tell you he was a player that was on the ball going forward, but never had the sort of tackling ability that like Alec McDonald and people like that, because wee Doddy was a player who could get forward but was back in your face.
I think he was great to have in the team, Doddy.
Oh, fantastic. Aye. An energy about him, a terrific energy about him. And that was a wee bit difference with Bobby. Bobby never had that he had the ability to get back, but probably didn't get back in an area which you could make the same differences about Alec McDonald could at that time. but it was a good balance to have in the team as well, because you normally a sort of 4-4-2
Aye, you
with the
need
two
that.
of them in that position, you know. So
And also, so you're looking at your characters in the team and all that, and it's a wee boy, I grew up watching him. I didn't know where to laugh or cry times. Was the Girvan Lighthouse, the goalie.
no, Big Peter was a good. He's
Cup winners, cup winner.
He's you know, you say, I think because he stood out because of, you know,
Right.
there was very, very few people that were at that height or playing at that time that
Aye.
were keepers as well. I think it was Al Stamp, who was a big lad for Queen's Park at the time, but it was you didn't play a lot of games, and I played one game against him. He was about 6'6" or something, he even towered Peter. But he was very, very rarely did you come up against somebody like that. So it was for Peter, I got on really, really. Again, went down to Girvan a couple of times. We spent sort of nights down there, supporters things, and knew Peter fairly well. Still working away down at his starter down at Turnberry. See him now and
Still
again,
getting
and
his
he's back up at now and again at Ibrox as well. So Peter was Peter at the time, and Stuart Kennedy were two great keepers. Again, keepers is a big confidence thing, you know, and whoever was playing with the confidence at the time was probably the one that was in it. And the reserves, whoever was not playing the first team, the other player was going to be in the reserves. So that was where they kept pushing each other. They had good games.
How many pals?
Aye. There wasn't a lot of people I would say weren't pals. You know, with the younger ones, with our age group, as we were growing up, you would get to know people and go out, and with them, if you had a partner at the time, girlfriend or whatever, or wife.
You socialise together.
Socialise like that, or there was one or two of us. You know, I went through. Can't say went through one or two girlfriends, but I had one or two girlfriends at the time, and then was single at other times.
Good times, we'll call them.
It was all good times, I can assure you. But
So-
you adjusted it and went out with one or two single guys and enjoyed the time.
Of the life.
Yeah.
So obviously the local boy, you're playing with Rangers, you become the captain and everything else. There's guys at the club, Joe Wallace, you've got Big Davy Proven, that. But it likes to build up to an Old Firm game. What's it like in that dressing room?
The dressing room was probably about 15 to 20 minutes before it is probably the worst time for everybody, and you can see the nerves picking up and everything. And if you've not got that, what you do have is you've got a feeling of anticipation before you go out. You've got this feeling of one or two were physically sick, but the nerves are really building on you. And if you don't have that, that wasn't any game. But if you don't have that, you never got yourself psyched up properly. I always felt.
Did you ever enjoy an Old Firm game?
I enjoyed the games. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the games. I think the build-up was the most difficult, and then going out that 5 minutes before it, going out onto the park. But see, as soon as you get a first touch, everything was forgotten. Everything was, all that went to the one side, and the adrenaline started taking over, and the game took care of itself. There was games that I enjoyed, some that probably didn't enjoy, results-wise, but I think I enjoyed it. I try to enjoy most of the games, and one in particular was at Parkhead it was at Ibrox, and I'd get back after I fractured my skull over in Canada. And it was the first real game I got afterwards, and the first league game, and it was against Celtic, and we won that day. And Danny McGrain said afterwards, "Good to see you back." And he'd been through it himself, and he realised it and that. But it was good for him to come, and it says a lot for his character as well.
Of course it does.
He was a gentleman.
That's what I was going to ask as well. On the park, as much as it's a battle, the Old Firm game, it's the biggest game in the world. But the banter must be great at times as well with the local boys.
It is, and it was all local ones at that time as well. If you could think about it, a lot of the players that you're talking about were guys that weren't that far away from the Glasgow area, you know. But we had a lot of battles on the park, and you know, good games, disappointing games. You went through everything, all different sort of feelings through it all, but. At the night after the 90 minutes, that short period afterwards, you think about it, they're doing it. You couldn't do a lot afterwards, but we had a sort of mutual respect.
Of course,
When
aye.
you had,
Aye.
when you got in touch with them, whether you would bumped into them occasionally when the night's out and all that. You would bump into them in Glasgow, as big as it is. It's you would occasionally bump into people, and you just had to go on with it. And you did go on with it if you get beat, and you just bit your tongue, but you just wish them all the best. And that's that now, which you look back on and say that's part of what it was at that time, and that's what it should be at the
conduct of the game.
Aye, most definitely.
And when you're looking at the day, you're talking about the Old Firm game being a massive game, and that European wise, obviously Rangers weren't there at the time. They weren't there. They didn't have the best of times with some of the European campaigns. But one of the memorial games I can remember as a kid, I only got to see the highlights of it, was Rangers versus Inter Milan. I managed to track down a video for my brother Scott did for Ian Ferguson. He still talks about that goal.
Aye, I don't remember a lot of the game. I do remember one incident which I didn't realise I'd even get caught up on. But it was a game. It was really a game.
How good were they?
They had household names over there. It was incredible. They beat us 3-0. But coming back here and being able to go and put a wee bit of a thing, going out in the 1-3-1 was. I just thought it was. Household names, which they were big. They had this air about them. They would, the way they conducted themselves prior to it, and then it was as if they were just going there and they were going to wipe the floor with us. But at Ibrox, we definitely got off to a good start. Then unfortunately lost a goal, I think, but scored a couple more. We weren't that far away. We wouldn't just scored two more.
Proper football, but proper entertaining football. It was closing them down, catching them in the break, getting in behind them, putting balls into the box, and it was what we did well at the time. The team now play on the ground. They try to do things on the ground and absolutely switch play. But the longer ball was what we used. The ball up to the striker was what we used and laid off, and then turn and getting it into the box and getting shots on target and getting people forward. And we had that in abundance. So that's what we had to use, and it caught them a little bit. I think they were surprised. What was the atmosphere like, Annie?
Any European, and because it's at night, is a totally different. It's a different atmosphere from during the day. But European nights, you know that you're going to be, and they were a huge team at the time as well. And you just thought, to be playing away down the park with them, it was great.
Aye. I know you're a busy man. I'll keep your interview short for you, Ali. I've asked the fans the same question. Everybody's answered it. I'm going to take the answers as well. The Steven Gerrard revolution. Are you on the bandwagon?
Of course, aye. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when he was named as manager, I looked back at a few times and saw him into the Blue Room prior to anything happening the season before, last season, and I think to myself, they've obviously thought well about this. But I wasn't sure at the beginning, but the more he's conducted, and it wasn't anything other than before even a ball was kicked.
Again, when you said to me earlier on, same as yourself, when you said you offered that job, you can't say no.
I think he's looked at the more I look at it and the more in depth I look at it, you can see it's right. It's totally right. Aye. Because he's a young manager. He's had tremendous experience in playing with and against great players. He knows the situation. He knows the backroom staff totally as well. He's brought a lot of the guys from Liverpool as well, who will then know the younger ones coming on, the experienced ones, the ones with the right temperament, and he's brought 2 or 3 of these guys up. I think it's not just Steven Gerrard. I think what he's brought into the club is the backroom staff. I think that's a big.
Because he's very much into loyalty. That's a big thing for him.
No, definitely, and you can see that he's a guy that is not going to ask somebody to do anything that he never did. And he played to a high level. He worked as hard as anybody to a high level. His work rate, as you can see on the park with everybody else, is up there, and that's what he's expected. And I think it's probably that more than anything. It was just lacked. Just in that, 1 or 2 better players, I believe, but only because they've been able to ask. He's asking them to do something which is quicker, slicker, Take the opportunity, take the chance, and if you make the mistakes, don't worry about it. It'll come, and he believes it in the players that are doing that. Some of them are maybe a wee step behind at the moment, but he believes that everybody will get there, and he's got a great squad together now.
I mean, one of the things I've noticed that the Rangers were famous in the old days, the 30s, the 40s, for big, bustling players. Everybody's not so much a hard man, but everybody can handle himself, and he's got the kind of players that are not going to be messed about.
They're stronger at the back, they're more physical at the back, they're just going to take that.
The other thing I've noticed, Ali, see when one of them gets hit, the three of them are in for the ball. They're hunting packs.
Yep. There's tight. They can play in tight areas that were on the ball, but as soon as they lose it, they're back in. They know what to do, how to get back into these areas. But we will get caught. Don't get me wrong. There's times we'll get caught because there's a lot of effort put in, a misguided pass or an interception or something that'll happen, a kick up the park which you can catch. But he's got the team playing and aware of how he's wanting to play, and you can see it. It's slicker. It's taking chances. You can see them trying to step over. You can see them trying, knowing that somebody might be behind and looking for the second pass. You see all these things, and they'll make mistakes, and it will happen. But when you're able, the last couple of games have proven he's scored a number of goals in them. He's made a lot of good chances, and there's different people in the park that are able to take chances.
One of the things I really like about the Gerrard revolution, as we call it, that he's identified the weaknesses in the team, the defence and what was going wrong, but he's got two players for every position now, and they're all fighting for that position. But see, when somebody's subbed, they don't take the huff, they shake his on, they're part of it, they're all believing in it.
You'll never get the same performance out of one person as they did the week before if they stayed on or whatever. You'll slightly change down the way or up the way or whatever. But as you've got within that range, then that's what you'll be looking for. Things happen in the parks, and things change, and changes can be made to just as a part of saying, right, it's not what we expected. We can change it, and even if a player for player. You can move 2 or 3 players around on the park and make that difference, rather than just saying, right, we'll take him out, we'll put him in, it's the same. You can change 3 or 4 things around. You can tweak it that little bit, which comes out of one person as they did the week before if they stayed on or whatever. You'll slightly change down the way or up the way or whatever. But as you've got within that range, then that's what you'll be looking for. Things happen in the parks, and things change, and changes can be made to just as a part of saying, right, it's not what we expected. We can change it, and even if a player for player, you can move 2 or 3 players around on the park and make that difference, rather than just saying, right, we'll take him out, we'll put him in, it's the same. You can change 3 or 4 things around. You can tweak it that little bit, which can slightly change the shape to be either more attacking or have that defensive quality and retain the ball and then hit on the counter again. Right. So he's done well. He's done really well.
Exactly. See what you said there. I think that's what happened last season. See the Andy Halliday story and the carry on that happened. Every good player, doesn't matter who you are, every player needs. When you're not playing well, you get dropped. Pedro didn't drop him. Yeah. And to be fair to Andy Halliday, he could have took the cupboard's way out. He could have said he was injured. He played every position, and he never had ones. And do you know what? Even the bad times, he's came back for that stronger. But that's because he didn't get dropped. You've got to drop a player when it's going wrong, and it's man management. And Gerrard's been the opposite with him.
He's deserved when he's played, because he's done well. And any player that gives 100%, even if it's going wrong, the supporters will take to that. I think if you're giving 100%, that's a must. You work hard. You check back. You stop you should stop your opponent from playing if you're not playing well.
I mean, a lot of things he does is a lot of things that Andy Halliday does you don't see.
No, he does the dirty stuff and it's the hard stuff. But he's still willing to go on the ball in tight areas, even if he makes mistakes. He'll still want to do that. And you say he does not hide. He can't hide on the park. Nobody can hide on the park. You've got to be working, because they will notice. The coaching staff will notice from up above or down at the bench. They will notice if you're not looking and trying to get on that ball, then they'll either say you've got a problem or injury, or your confidence is down, which it shouldn't be at the moment. So and everybody is, they all are looking for the ball, and that's the difference. When you've got the ball, you see options. Sometimes maybe before you were seeing maybe options going away from you or behind players, etc. But you're seeing 3 or 4 options of a pass, or you're going and driving at people.
It's an entirely new team. Who's the standout for you? Who's the marquee signing?
You could look outfield, but I think Alan McGregor. I didn't know how he was, at the beginning. But he's
came back a better player.
To me, he's coming back. It's not even. I think he was a good player, but I think he's commanding in the box. He's organising people around him, but he's 1-on-1 shot stopping has been tremendous, and I think that's what's kept us in Europe, especially, and in games at certain times. He might not come out for balls in different areas, but that should be down to the 2 central defenders as well. They've got 2 big guys in there that can go and are willing to put themselves on the line, go and attack things, and I think that's which has helped him stay and organise everybody, and he's there for bits and pieces away from that as well. We will lose goals, we realise that, but he's probably saved about 30 to 40% of the points that we could have lost, and kept us in games, and when the backs were against the wall as well. It's a team effort. It goes right around everybody, but he's probably the one that's been noticed more because it has been down to 1v1 situations, But I would say Alan McGregor.
And do you think they'll stick with? Do you think they'll have the Morelos Lafferty partnership? Do you think they'll do that up front, or do you think they'll do one?
They'll do it at different times. They play. I mean, Kyle Lafferty can go in a wider area and play and link with people. He can play off it. You could do Morelos off Lafferty as well. There's so many different options. And it depends the other players at that time who are doing well, and who we're playing against, because there might exactly, and he'll realise that there might be times when teams need breaking down in the middle of the park, and you can hurt them going through the middle, or it might be that we're hurting teams going down the sides. The backroom staff will know that, and I think they'll pick the players for the different games.
Well, you no longer get the boots on playing. You're a fan now. Every time I go to Ibrox, I see you there.
Yep.
I've run a few testimonial dinners for the legends. You've always turned up. You're first one to offer to come along. You're a fan of, you're on the bandwagon. You're watching Rangers. You're enjoying it. What do you think for the season?
I think that we will really push Celtic a lot closer this year. I don't know if it'll be this year or maybe next year that will push them even closer to taking the title off them, but I'd love to see that happen. And they've got a good start. If they can build on things, if they can keep the team playing as well as they are, we don't get too many injuries in key positions, I think it'll be a big difference. I think it might be a step too far this year, but I don't think we'll be far away from pushing Celtic for the title.
Aye. I know I'm obviously at the pitch today. Just a wee question. What are you doing with yourself now?
The pitch is the old, what you'd probably known it as years ago. Power League is what it's known as.
It's the last time I played football.
I know, exactly. But everybody knows it as a pitch. But I'm up with Power League. We have, this is where I work with street soccer. We have, this is literally what you call my day job. We have different times of the day. We have different five-a-side football. I look at my part of what I deal with is more bringing in or looking to sort of bring in corporate funding, going and meeting people, telling them about what we do, and trying to get people interested in networking and looking at different ways of bringing in the funding to the organisation. We work with disadvantaged people for 16 and over. We have a kids programme as well, a 10 to 16 year old at night, but most of the stuff is done during the day. There's nobody about at the moment, but this afternoon we'll have at 1 o'clock there'll be guys kicking a ball about here. It's free. That's why the funding has to come into it, and I'm enjoying that side of it. I don't do a lot of coaching now. I've stepped back a wee bit. It's for the younger ones, so but it's a great. We're sitting here and the pitch is not being used at the moment. Looking onto there, but the facility's great. We can sit out here during the day, do the things that we need to out here, and when we need to go into the pitches, we've got a great facility and we work really well. It's a good partnership we've got with Power League, and when they are busy and our tournaments go on, they can be anything up 30 plus teams in here.
So could people still get involved if they see this?
They want to, if they are unemployed, they're not working, they're not getting any exercise during the day. We work with different age groups on a Tuesday and a Thursday. If they're up here from just before 1 o'clock, they can come up, get to know people, and then they do a little warm up and just go and play games. It's engaging with people who have never, this might be the only exercise they get.
So when you're saying disadvantage, people are unemployed. Brendan Rodgers might be up in a few weeks.
You said that, not me.
No, kidding aside, I mean, you've not lost the passion for the the beautiful game. You've never lost it.
No, I love football. It's what I've been very, very fortunate in the time that since I've left school up until now. I've been involved near enough with something to do with football. At the highest level, playing for Rangers, lifting the cup, fortunate enough to have 5 caps for Scotland, and had a great life. You know, I've seen a lot of the world, which I wouldn't have out with that as well. And eventually through football went over to Malta and met my wife over there as well. So football has been my life, and it's great to still be involved in it. Albeit a wee bit lesser on the actual football side of it, but it's fantastic, and it's great to get into Ibrox. There's a great feel about it at the moment, and hopefully that will continue for the next few years.
Aye, I mean, it's just the passion's wrapped out you listening to. It's just great listening to a guy that not just played with Rangers, but got to captain Rangers, and he's a fan. Just a genuine guy. Ali, before I finish, don't want to be too personal, but you might sign my ball.
Yep, sure. I think I've got a pen somewhere. So.
Perfect, I've got all the legends on that.
Right.
That's perfect for us. And before I forget, thank you very much for doing this today. Genuinely appreciated you actually offered me to do it, which is a first, which was a great honour. I'm hoping to get wee John McDonald next if you have a word with him.
Aye, I will do it.
Maybe get Fergie. But that would be great for us. You can look at people now and you can say I played for the greatest football club in the world. You were the captain of the Rangers, the famous Ali Dawson, Rangers FC.
Thanks very much, Si.
Cheers, brilliant.
Really appreciate it, thanks.
Aye, that looked good.
Cheers.
I should have been there. Hopefully for the recorded all right. Aye. So,
good.
So technology's